you're saying that Caitlin Clark isn't the NCAA scoring leader of all time, men's and women's? She's not the current best college basketball player ever of all time? Is that what you're saying?
Well, first of all,
by scoring metrics? What, all of a sudden we can't use metrics anymore?
Hey, calm down over there. Your blood pressure's getting a little high. Your doctor's going to need to be alerted.
Class is now in session.
Welcome back to episode 5 of the 9 Degrees podcast, the number one non-educational, education-themed podcast in the world. We may have 9 degrees among us, but we still don't know much about anything. We'll keep you informed about the most interesting current events in the world, but make sure to use a fact checker because we definitely don't. As always, I'm your boy Jerome. We got Maddox, we got Jackson, we got Jared back for another week. Remember that you can catch the audio version of this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you find podcasts. If you're an audio listener, make sure you watch the video version. Look for that one day later on youtube.com/Jerome Vaz. And also make sure to follow us on socials at 9 Degrees Pod on everything. Guys, class is now in session. Someone mentioned this right before we began. We got our very first interaction in the Discord. So wanted to give a big shout out to, I've already forgotten the name. Someone who remembers the name, give a shout out.
House of Holbein or House of Holbein.
House of Holbein.
I think it's House of Whole Beans.
Whole Beans.
I think it's supposed to be a coffee shop, a German coffee shop.
Oh, okay. They're
they grind it fresh.
Coffee roaster. well, shout out to House of Whole Beans on Discord. Thanks for joining, and hopefully you interact with us as we keep talking about events and current events keep happening. Maddox promised before this podcast that if you send your Bitcoin wallet address, that he's going to send you all the Bitcoin he owns. So, make sure to look out for that.
I would actually agree to that because I don't own any Bitcoin right now. So,
oh damn. Well, all right. Well,
I'll send him send me your Ethereum address. I'll send you some Ethereum in one of my Ethereum wallets.
Well, guys, I want to talk about how everyone's doing today. But before I ask you guys how you're doing, I have a major gripe. I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the numbers, but for whatever reason, our last episode of the podcast, episode 4, absolutely popped off. And I don't know, relative to how many views we've been getting, we probably got like 7 or 8 times as many. And it was the one about Dave Ramsey, and people are apparently very opinionated about this freaking 50-something-year-old man that does nothing for their lives. But very opinionated, to the point where we now officially have some comment leavers on the video as well. So I just want to give you guys the comments and my frustrations this past week. Okay, so
go for it.
So I'm not going to out this guy, but if you want to go look at episode 4, the comment's still there. You can go look at it. But so we talked about Dave Ramsey and blah, 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 and how things are hard to afford. This person says, and I'm going to read the comment. The average 1-bedroom apartment rent in America is about $1,700 per month. Nearly half of U.S. states have an average rent less than $1,500. Also, according to Zillow, the average home buyer in America will pay $2,200 a month for their mortgage. It's not Dave Ramsey's fault you are choosing luxury that you can't afford. I think these comment leavers should understand that, when I'm sitting on the toilet, I have nothing better to do. I'm going to respond. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to respond. So I responded, and I said, the median income in the U.S. after taxes is about $49,800 or $4,150 per month. Let's use your median $2,200 mortgage. That leaves you with $1,950 for the month. The median student loan, $250. Average monthly car payment, $500. Car insurance, $150. Gas, $150. Utilities, $100. Wi-Fi, $50. Phone bill, $100. Average groceries for a single person, $350. Average healthcare cost, I'm not going to lie to you, I was off on this one, but I said $700. And then I said, oops, I ran out of money and I haven't had any fun or saved for retirement. And I'm sure we could keep stacking on costs, right? This person responds to me again, says, your math is so off, man. This is horrible money management. Why is anyone making $4,000 a month trying to own a home? You can rent, and that's $700 less a month than you're spending. Phone bill of $100, you need a new phone bill. $500 car payment. If you're broke, you drive a cheap used car. Simple fix. If you want to live a more luxurious lifestyle, work more or get a better paying job. people keep whining about inflation, blah, blah, blah. Instead of giving people a crutch to use an excuse, encourage them to work harder, is what he said. I just want to, this makes me so angry because I'm just like, okay, I want to go through this just point by point for a second. Why is anyone who's making $4,000 a month trying to own a home?
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Isn't that the whole point? Isn't that literally the whole point of the argument? Is that
he's basically saying poor people should not own homes.
Not even poor.
Correct.
That's the median income in the U.S.
Middle class.
Like you have to be upper class to own a home.
Right. Is that what you're saying? Because if I'm saying that the median income is $4,000 a month and you're saying that you shouldn't own a home, then are you saying that that's the national average cost across all ages? So you're just saying half of Americans shouldn't own a home?
Yeah. Also, I was going to say, to make a point on top of this, like some apartments, like you have to make more than like 2 times like what the rent costs. So like 2 times, 2.5. I know, like I've been in some where it's been like 3x
completely
of the rent.
I see
so
3.
Three's very common.
3's most common, I think.
So that's not even like that $700 isn't helping you either. So you can't rent and you can't have a house.
Exactly. And then also, like in my comment, I used national averages and medians for every single thing that I brought up. And I brought the receipts, man. Median mortgage. This is off of Forbes Advisor. The actual median mortgage, this guy said $2,200. At current rates, it's actually $2,780 is the median mortgage. Median,
22 is surprising.
Yeah. Median rent, $19.87, rent.com. Median phone bill, $160 from Mint Mobile. Median car payment, $533 used vehicle. That's from Bankrate. Student loans, $200 U.S. News and World Report. Car insurance, $130 U.S. News and World Report. Gas, $150 to $200 per month. Utilities, $137 from Bankrate. Internet, $65 from Forbes. Groceries, $475 a month from NerdWallet. Healthcare, $116 for a single employee's portion from CNN. You're telling me that my entire point was that you still can't have any fun after all this. Libraries offer Nintendo Switches for poor people, but adults can't get fun? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Also, why are people defending Dave Ramsey? What, you and your friends jump on a yacht with him every weekend and go sailing?
Yeah.
Well, this man is literally the poster boy of don't have any debt. He literally says, don't buy a car if you don't have cash to buy it. What are we talking about? This guy, this comment leaver is telling me to spend $7,000 to buy a piece of junk car. Okay, what about the maintenance? My car right now can get you 34 miles per gallon. It's a 2019 Honda Accord. You're getting a $7,000 junker. You're probably spending double, triple in gas because the mileage is crap. And who's going to take care of the maintenance? I'm just saying.
It's going to break down.
People are dumb. People are dumb.
How long were you on the toilet to research all of that?
No, I did a little bit of math after the fact, but
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I want to make
a huge gripe.
I agree with you, but I think that I'm realizing this now more than ever. Doing cost comparisons nationwide is honestly kind of not helpful because there's the discrepancies between regions is like pretty like drastic. You know, rent where you guys are is a lot different than where I am, and even like gas prices. You would think gas prices would be pretty uniform, but California, it's a lot more expensive than it is here. Could be an arbitrage opportunity, but.
I completely agree. My only rebuttal would be like, I used medians and averages where medians were unavailable. I could not have given you a more median person. Right.
That's why I was saying I'm not discrediting your argument, but I'm just observing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I also found it.
Dave Ramsey.
Well, I was just
F you.
I was just going to say it's funny because it's literally, we're just talking about like, hey, like things are maybe a little bit more expensive than they should be. And people are like, you should work harder. And it's like,
right. What are we talking about? That's literally not the point. Also,
work harder or get a better job. I mean, isn't that like what the median worker is? Like you can't tell the median worker to get a better job because then they're not median anymore.
Yes. Also, like, you know who it is that makes these types of arguments? It's not the person that's working at McDonald's making, has 3 jobs and is working minimum wage. It's not that. It's also not the person that's making like, in the top 5% of their age for income. It is and I don't know how old this guy is, but it is the person that's most likely just graduated college, is likely like an engineer or some STEM major that's making $80K and is like, oh my God, I am so rich. Like I can afford anything, you know, because I've been that guy. Like I know because I've been that guy and I've made $80K and thought I was the richest fucking person in the world. And it's definitely that person that's like, oh, no. But it's definitely that type of person that's like, oh, well, if you had just worked hard like I did in college, then your life would be perfect.
Or, yeah. I'd say on like the other side of the spectrum too, where you have people at like the end of their life where like their retirement's fine, or they're like, well, yeah, they're like everything's fine now, like who knows in like a couple years, but they're like, oh, if you just worked hard your entire life and, you know, had all these dominoes fall in your way, and like that dude's like 3 years away from a recession, absolutely like wiping out his retirement.
Right.
So what are we talking about?
Right. Anyway, let's pick up the mood a little bit. I got my frustrations out. Someone tell me something happy that's happened in their life.
I've got some gratitude to spread.
Okay.
So, all right. This is an audio POV. Okay. POV.
That doesn't make sense. An
POV.
audio point of view.
You're a realtor. Okay. You're a realtor. Mm-hmm. It's Sunday. You're doing an open house on a beautiful lake property that you've got listed, and it's a nice day out. Lake property out kind of in the country, away from this, you know, pretty far away from the cities, no cell phone service out there. So you're there, you're doing the open house, and a family shows up with 2 kids. They're kids. They're not bad kids or anything. They're just being kids. And they're outside looking at the lake, looking at the pool. They come inside, tracking a little bit of mud onto the white carpet. No big deal. I mean, can't find any carpet cleaner in the house, so that's a problem. Then, you know, of course, kids being kids, they need to make sure that this house that their parents are about to buy is thoroughly adequate for their needs. So, of course, they have to try out the recliner, the item in the house that doesn't actually convey with the house, right? So, the older kid gets in the recliner, pulls the handle, snaps in half. So now you, being the good realtor that you are, need to solve these issues for your client's house before before they get home. And of course, you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. You don't really know, or you know where the closest stores are, but they're pretty far away. And you don't have cell phone service to see if there's like a closer store nearby. So you just start driving. The open house finishes up. You just start driving as fast as you can toward the city, and hopefully finding something before that. And right as you get off the back roads onto the highway, what do you see? Perched up on the hill, Dollar General.
Oh God!
Right?
Okay, where's this going?
You go in. Maybe they have what I need. You go in. Oh, do they have carpet cleaner? Yes. Oh, do they have super glue? Yes.
Super glue? That's how you fix this?
Yeah, it's just a piece of a handle, like.
Yeah. Clearly, it wasn't made of the most integral material.
Get back, fix it up, cleaned up, looks good. Great. Dollar General saving the day.
But did you tell the homeowner?
All right, we got to cut this. You guys missed the point.
Was it the Dollar General or was it the drive?
Finish the story. What's the point?
Well, I hadn't finished the story either, but okay, you're going and after your open house, you got to go out to another listing that you have that's also out in the country that you're putting a coming soon sign out, and of course you forgot your zip ties, right? To zip tie your flyer box onto your sign, right?
Okay.
Right. So you're on your way, back roads, probably not. You're not going to pass any stores. What's that at the corner? Dollar General. What do they have? Zip ties.
Okay.
So shout out Dollar General. If you're a realtor, all right. Dollar General can be your real estate needs supplier.
Oh my God.
Especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you need real estate supplies.
That's so funny.
You guys missed I thought that one was going to hit better, but you guys missed the point, but it's all good.
It was just
shout out
the
DG.
Dollar General.
I have never really shopped at Dollar General, but it definitely is. It's convenient for places that are, a little more remote because they exist. They exist and they have a lot of variety of items.
All right.
Next time I see a Dollar General, I'm going in there.
I'm gonna think of you next time I see a
It's
Dollar
more
General.
of a convenience thing than like you need to go like,
That's
if
true.
you're in a pinch and you're in the middle of nowhere, that's the solution they provide.
That's actually a good point. That's true. Go ahead, Jared.
I was going to say, just love that for you.
Oh, and you know where this
love that experience.
You know where this was? It was in that same neighborhood that the Airbnb we stayed at for your sister's wedding. Same neighborhood.
Ah, okay.
I had that place in mind when you were telling the story. That's what I was picturing.
Yeah, so you pull out of there and you go through that little like dinky town. You remember? And then that dinky town called Friendsville. And right across 320, right across 321, there's a Dollar General right up there.
Dang, it was like the skies were parting for you, Maddox. I'm happy for you. Well, on that note, should we get into the current events for the week?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the U.S. Senate. They just passed this big foreign aid bill, right? And as part of the foreign aid bill, don't ask why, I don't know, was the bill to ban TikTok, which honestly, I don't really care about. We're not doing too hot on TikTok. We're doing really well on YouTube and Instagram. So if TikTok goes away, whatever. Yeah, ban it. But so to quickly cover the bill itself, it is giving the owner of TikTok, ByteDance, a 9-month window in which they have to give up ownership of TikTok. And if they don't, it will fully be banned in the United States. And I just have to ask, why? I feel like we've talked about this before, but like, why are we going after only TikTok? I mean, I know why, but why?
Because China.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Because deep down, the U.S. Senate is just like Donald Trump. They are just scared of the Chinese.
It's either China or it's just like a generational, like, I feel like TikTok kind of embodies the younger generations more than other social media platforms do. So it's either that conflict or just anti-China sentiment. Either one. Can we not allocate our political resources to more important endeavors?
I completely agree. We actually, Maddox and Jared, we had a call with a friend of ours. I'm going to cut that name out. Where he had very stark opinions that it was a national security threat, and I was just like, I disagree. I completely disagree.
I think that's the rationale.
Sometimes that friend though holds. I think I can't actually tell if he actually holds that opinion himself or he holds it to,
for the administration.
Yeah,
for loyalty to the administration.
I've had actually the same conversation with the same friend, and I don't know. Sometimes I feel like deep down he's just trying to troll me.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Well, because it's just like, okay, listen, this is the episode that Jerome brought his receipts. I did a lot of research for this because I'm just like, TikTok has proved over and over again that there has been no evidence of data leakage to the CCP, right? And so, like, why not go after the Facebook, Instagram, X, Truth Social as well? Because I can't look up a freaking damn Instagram page about a sneaker without every website ever giving me ads about Allbirds. So, like, who's actually leaking data, and why is it that we only care if the Chinese are getting our data and not the U.S.? Like, because what? So all of a sudden we trust U.S. government, we trust U.S. companies and stuff? Because how many bad actors has there been in terms of like data leaks? I've got the receipts. Don't worry, I'll tell you.
I mean, even Yahoo like a year ago.
2017. LinkedIn 2021, Facebook 2019, Yahoo again 2014, TransUnion in 2022, literally people's social security numbers and their credit.
Yeah.
But we're worried about TikTok. We're worried about Maddox's dance videos.
You can't find those.
Hey, his dance videos are great.
You can but
it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Not to mention all of the like American companies that have screwed over Americans. FTX recently, Theranos, Bernie Madoff, Enron. Like, but we're worried about TikTok. I don't understand.
I hear you. I mean, I'm with you too. I think to go. I mean, there is maybe something to say like the first one that gets brought down. Like I hear what you're saying with like all these like companies that like could get brought down. Like there always has to be like a first one. I do think the kind of obvious bias, if it is there, like the Chinese bias is like just kind of blatant in this regard. Like it's just because it's a Chinese. It's not even a Chinese company, or like it is, but like the guy is like not Chinese. Like there's so much that like the blanket that gets thrown over this is like, it's Chinese. There's no way to protect it. It's got to go.
Right.
That's what it feels like.
Well, I mean, I think there definitely, regardless, there definitely is like with China being like a competing power to the U.S., there's definitely been like a history of,
for sure.
What was the term that our friend used? Like national, like I guess like there's some national security, like military stuff to be concerned about. I would imagine a similar sentiment would be imposed if it were like Russia or something,
Sure.
Yeah.
But my question is like what data, what are they going to do with TikTok user data that is a national security threat?
Completely agree.
And maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe there is like a legitimate thing, but I mean, and there was the whole thing with potentially Russia manipulating Facebook algorithms and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And is that what it is? Because that doesn't seem like what it is, because it seems like it's just that there's this Chinese entity that is part of TikTok's company that has access to data. Right. So,
well, people always talk about like misinformation and stuff, and that's why TikTok is bad. But it's like, okay, you're telling me the misinformation doesn't exist on other platforms? We create misinformation. Let's be honest. Jared's gotten called out on the internet all the time. We create misinformation here on this show. So
accidentally, but sure.
But yeah. And it's just like, I also hear the argument all the time about people are like, well, have you seen what they're showing on TikTok in China? They're like teaching about math and teaching about science, and they're teaching their kids. But here we get stupid dance video. And I'm like, okay, how about you tell Americans to stop watching stupid shit on TikTok?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That kind of feels like, I mean, the money listens. So I mean, you're not going to sell TikTok if people are doing math here.
And it also feels like these people have sort of a complete misunderstanding of what TikTok is, because on my TikTok feed, I get videos about math and science. You're going to get...
It's literally... Exactly.
That's how all of the other algorithms work too. Facebook, Twitter, you're going to see what you want to see. And
completely.
That's what you're going to get shown.
So if you're a 57-year-old man and you're getting videos of young girls dancing on TikTok, what does that say about you, sir? What does that say about you?
Or Dave Ramsey videos.
Or we're not gonna talk about him.
I bet Dave Ramsey gets TikToks of young girls dancing.
Ooh, you heard it here, folks. Breaking news. Anyway, we shouldn't be banning TikTok. TikTok is fine. And completely agree with you, Maddox. I don't understand this whole data argument. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with my data.
I just always think about stuff like this in opportunity cost terms. Like, I just can't believe that this is top of the totem pole in terms of things we need to be focusing on.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, moving on. I got another one. Big thing that just happened recently. The WNBA. Okay. Viewership of the WNBA draft was up 307% from last year. They had 2.5 million people watching. Not to mention, the college women's national championship had more viewers than the men's national championship. For the first time in history, college women's basketball and women's basketball in general is on the up and up, boys.
Wow, really?
Yes.
The national championship or the Final Four game with UConn and Connecticut?
I believe it was the national championship.
Championship. I just said the exact same thing.
I believe
it was the finals.
It was the finals. The big, alpha male argument, which Jared, tell me why this is true, is because the national championship game was at like 9:30 p.m. Eastern or something, and so they're like, "Oh, well, I gotta go to sleep." You know.
Oh, I mean, I have gripes with hockey right now because it's the second game, but that's neither here nor there. That's off. We're off the track.
Listen, women's basketball is on the up and up. I can't name one college men's player right now, and I can name a minimum of at least 2 women's players that got drafted. So
name them.
Okay,
name them.
Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, get out of my face, bitch boy.
Okay.
Yeah,
you can't.
Both of those
where you
individuals are very marked. I mean, I've been seeing Angel Reese since the beginning of the season. Angel Reese has been everywhere on social media.
Yeah. And what's the other girl? South Carolina's got a couple girls.
No, that's USC.
There's some.
Sorry, the University of South Carolina, USC.
No, the University of Southern California.
Yeah, but my point being, they have the same letters, Jared.
Oh, whatever. Dude.
Anyway,
I can't believe you can't name Paige Buchers on UConn.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Keep making my point.
Well, that was the big. I mean, that was the big.
No,
I remember the Iowa UConn game.
Jerem's point is like I couldn't tell you any men's college basketball player from this year because it just hasn't come up to me. But I've had at least three women's college basketball players.
I don't think that's true. I think everybody on this podcast knows who Zach Edey is.
I legitimately can say that I don't.
Okay, I know him now, but that's only because they played Tennessee in the tournament.
Oh, I can name the Tennessee guy, Dalton Connect. I can name him.
Dalton Connect. Wow, okay.
That's the only one I know.
I mean, I was gonna say Maddox. Edey's on Purdue, so
didn't know.
I didn't know Zach Edey before the tournament.
Really? Not even from last year? I mean, he's a 2-time men's basketball player of the year.
This is my point, Jared. This is exactly my point.
Well, I would say this demographic not very representative of those who engage in sports frequently. But
again, that's exactly my point. For me, not engaging,
to your point,
I know these women's names. It's crazy.
How many? So now that you're into the WNBA, who's your favorite team? Are you going to go with the hometown team of the Atlanta Dream, or are you going to go with the team that won the WNBA finals last year? Who was?
I'm going to pick the Los Angeles Sparks.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Damn.
Incorrect.
Is it Nevada?
Oh. Las Vegas team, right?
Nevada is not a team.
Oh,
Las Vegas Aces is a
everyone
team.
Just rewind this podcast about 10 seconds and then skip this part where I mess everything up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
the Aces.
Here's what I wanted to talk about. Caitlin Clark, WNBA salary, starting salary. Anyone got any guesses?
Well, hold on.
Yes.
Let's differentiate. The money that she's going to be making in sponsorships or her salary?
Her base salary paid from the league.
Oh, it's like 239, like 239,000, 293, something like that.
It's a good guess. It's wrong. Good guess. Maddox,
I'm going to throw in a cool $1 million per year.
Good guess. Not incorrect. Maddox?
I'm going to split the difference at like $600K.
Caitlin Clark is going to be making $76,000 per annual.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Per annum.
No, I thought you were going to go above me, and I actually know Agumbake is the highest paid WNBA player in like the 200,000 mark.
I think what you were thinking of, Jared, was around what her 4-year contract is worth. Her 4-year contract is $338,000.
No, I was thinking. I can tell you what I was thinking of. I was thinking of Arike Agumbake, who makes $241,000 because I've looked this up before.
Okay.
Anyways,
so a couple interesting facts. The current average salary for a WNBA player is $147,000 per year. That's before any bonuses. There are technically like opportunities to make bonuses in the WNBA, similar as the NBA. The main one being marketing. If you are chosen to be a WNBA league marketer, you can make an additional bonus of $250,000. And then if you are a team marketing player, meaning, you just got to be like a standout player for the team, be the face of the team, you can make an additional $100K. And then they have tournaments that have prize money, 2 specific tournaments, the Commissioner's Cup, where the 2 teams that make the final get to split $500,000 between the 2 of them. And then the teams that make the playoff pool also split $500,000 between them. But like each team has 12 players. They each get $250,000 and each of the 12 players split that. So it's like a small bonus, but a bonus nonetheless. Right. So that is the opportunity, right? The average NBA player, men's, by comparison, makes $7 million. Okay.
Yeah. But the league minimum's in the millions.
Yeah, I think the league minimum is in the millions for a rookie contract. So for comparison, Caitlin Clark, her 4-year contract worth $338,000 over the course of 4 years. Last year, and she was the number 1 draft pick, right? Mm-hmm. Last year's number 1 men's draft pick, Victor Wembanyama, contract, 4-year contract worth $55 million.
Yeah, that's a steal, by the way.
What?
That's a steal for the Spurs. Victor Wembanyama is easily the defensive player of the year. He's worth like $30 million a year easy.
Okay, but you're saying that Caitlin Clark isn't the all-time NCAA scoring leader of all time, men's and women's? She's not the current best college basketball player ever of all time? Is that what you're saying, Jared? Is that what you're saying?
First of all,
by scoring metrics? What, all of a sudden we can't use metrics anymore?
Hey, Dave Ramsey supporter, I need you to calm down over there. Your blood pressure's getting a little high. Your doctor's going to need to be alerted. So what I would say is, first of all, we're talking about 2 completely different things. You're talking about like talent level versus like basically how much money you can make somebody, which a great example is look at like Caitlin Clark's like off the court, like sponsorships. She just signed like a $9 million like Nike deal or something like that.
28 million. I got the receipts, bruv. I'm prepared today.
So at the end of the day, I mean, so you've got the receipts. How much money does the WNBA make every year?
I am so glad you brought this up, Jared, because this is where the conversation was headed, my boy.
Okay, baby.
So I got the stats for you. Because this is a common argument that people make all the time. They say that NBA players should make more money because the NBA as a league makes way more money. And honestly, Caitlin Clark even said that in her interview when they were like, are you mad about your salary? And she was like, honestly, like, no, because, well, first off, why is she going to be mad? She's making $28 million with Nike. But she herself was like, you know, we have not made as, like, we as a league do not make as much money as the NBA. So, of course, we're not going to be paid as much, which is a fair argument as a baseline until you start looking into the metrics. Okay.
Oh, God.
Here's what I got for you, Jared. The NBA makes per year $13 billion. It's a lot of money. The WNBA, by comparison, makes $200 million. Okay?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Are we talking about the money that they generate or the money that they actually like make after all expenses?
The league generates top line revenue, $13 billion.
That they keep, or are we saying that's before we get into costs?
No. Top line revenue income before costs.
Okay.
Before costs.
Yeah. No, I get this. I know where this argument's going.
So the NBA has approximately 450 players. That means each player on average is generating about $29 million per player. Okay. We already know that the average NBA salary is $7 million. 7 million divided by 29 million. That means each player is getting paid approximately 24% of their revenue generated. Is everyone following? Is everyone with me? Okay, let's go to the women. The WNBA makes $200 million. There's 12 teams, 12 players each, 144 women. That means each player is generating $1.4 million. We also know that the average salary of a WNBA player is $147,000. That means they are being paid 10.6% of their revenue generated, less than half what the men are being paid. So is it fair? I don't know, Jared. You tell me. Tell me.
This is a great example of numbers can always lie so long as you look in the right places. Like, because you're completely going across the fact, like the NBA, like after all is said and done, NBA makes like $2-3 billion a year.
Sure.
The WNBA every single year comes in at a loss. The NBA has to subsidize. I'm not saying like has to. The NBA is like, I agree. Like the WNBA should exist because like the talent that's coming into the WNBA in like the last 10 years has been outstanding. I mean, to go before that was somebody who recently retired with like Candace Parker.
Yeah.
Like the face of the WNBA has become much more marketable. The talent level's there. So it's a lot more like it's fun to watch Caitlin Clark like play basketball. So I'm here for the rise in the WNBA.
Here's my argument.
But at the end of the day, the WNBA loses money every single year, and it's the NBA who has to subsidize it for good reason.
But Jared,
so
who else?
Have you ever? When's the last time? I mean, Caitlin Clark's going to do it this year, but when's the last time you've watched a WNBA game?
Yeah, you're
or
right.
Seen a sold-out
Never.
crowd?
But here's my argument. When's the last time I've watched an NBA game? also
we
never
had one on last weekend.
I was also a couple weeks ago. I was literally sitting courtside at the Nuggets, but
Thank you.
But here's my argument. Okay, take a company. Honestly, I've got one for you. Amazon. Maddox, back me up here. Operates at a net loss every single year. That's not stopping Jeff Bezos from cutting himself a check for $20 billion a year. Damn, jaws dropped. Apparently, I can hear a needle hit the floor.
I don't really like the comparison, but whatever.
But I'm just saying, companies operate at losses all the time for tax reasons and whatever. Blah blah. They can still cut checks based on revenue generation.
I think the WNBA is a bit of a different company than Amazon.
I completely agree.
Sure. Also, I don't know where you're saying that they're operating at a net loss every year, because I scoured the internet for all of minutes trying to find their financials, and I couldn't find them. I couldn't find them.
Well, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know that it's an NBA subsidized league. I do know that. Like, and again, so I keep reiterating this so that whoever in the comments who only sees the edit or the reel that we put out
there. The comments from who our viewership are, and it seems to be alpha males, the comments are going to be coming from me. Don't you worry.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just going to say, like, again, so that I can be very clear in whatever reel comes out of this. Yeah. Like, I do think, like, I like that the NBA, like that the NBA subsidizes the WNBA. I actually watch WNBA games. Thank you very much. Like, I watch the
Congrats
WNBA
to Jared.
finals.
Jared's got one black friend. Oh.
No, oh my God. Dude, you are digging yourself in such a hole. I like sports, so I'm all for it, but they don't actually they don't make a lot of money, so that's why the salaries are where they are. Nikola Jokic gets paid $60 million a year because he's the best basketball player on the planet, and he makes the Nuggets a ton of money. Like, that's why LeBron gets the money that he does, is because he's an incredibly marketable individual. So I understand where you're coming from. Should they get compensated more? I don't know, but
ooh, wow,
you're making you're finding the metrics that you want to use.
Let's hope. A couple years ago, back in 2020, the salary max for a WNBA player was $100,000, and now it's like, whatever you said, 240 or something.
240.
So it's come up just in the last several years. Let's hope with the likes of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and all these college superstars that are graduating into the WNBA, that they can hopefully continue that trend, continue to make more money.
Can you name the number 2 pick? Because Angel Reese was like the number 7 pick. Can you name the other generational talent who just came out of Stanford, who got picked 2nd overall?
Speaking of Stanford, I've got my next article. What's up, Maddox?
I have 2 points on the Caitlin Clark thing.
Yes.
One, fun fact.
It's not just me and Jerome.
Fun fact. I think you guys probably know this. I don't know if you made the connection, though, but my brother is a sports journalist in Iowa, and he's been covering Caitlin Clark through her entire career. So there's pictures and videos of him everywhere, like interviewing her after the games and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so kind of cool. So that's been like this whole rise has been pretty close to our family. But piggybacking off of Jerome's defending women's equality here in the WNBA.
We love women on this podcast, except for Jared. Also, for any women watching, Jared's single, by the way.
So
for the women watching,
this is pointing out a flaw in men. But did you guys see the interview with Caitlin Clark right after the national championship game?
I did not.
There was a reporter there that was talking to her before they started taking questions, just casually. He did this to her, which apparently she does to her family, like when she's on the court. And she was like, "Oh, I do that to my family." And he was like, "Yeah, I know." And he was like, "If you do it to me, we'll get along just fine."
Oh, I did see this. I saw the video.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it was kind of gross. Actually, not kind of. It was very gross.
Yeah. Don't be a creep. Quit being creeps out there.
And you feel bad for her because now that she's like a media personality, she just has to just shrug it off and pretend you could
just
tell
like we're gonna have to do.
Exactly. Well, now that we're famous, you just gotta shrug it off unless you're me, in which case I will respond.
Yeah, still haven't answered the number 2 overall pick, but we can move on to the next article if you want to.
What school were they from again? Remind me.
Stanford.
Okay, Stanford. So Harvard and other Ivies bringing back test scores for admission. I know Stanford's not an Ivy League, but anyway. What do we think of this? So Harvard and a bunch of other Ivy Leagues and a bunch of schools just in America, they stopped accepting, or they made it optional for the COVID years, and then eventually permanently dropped the standardized test requirement for college admissions. So SAT, ACT, things like that. And surprise, surprise, the metrics guy brought some metrics. They found out that it was bullshit, that without metrics, they were finding that a lot of their students were not doing well and were not quote unquote Harvard material. And so you've got, higher standardized test score translated on average to better college academic performance. Of 9,000 first-year students enrolled in 2023, those who opted in, meaning they did submit test scores, had an estimated GPA of 0.86 higher than those who opted out. Given the option, would you have opted out or would you have submitted your test scores?
What
depends on my test scores.
Benefit?
I'm asking you as a you. You as you, would you have opted out? Yes.
I know what my test scores are. No, I would not have opted out. I had good test scores. I'm well-read.
I guess what benefit do I have of, let's say I'm in Jackson's position and I have good test scores. What benefit do I have if I opt out or whichever way I don't give my score? How are they going to judge me if I don't have my scores? I didn't really follow this at all.
Yeah, I think the argument was similar to, I think the argument was, more, well, first it started with COVID, where people physically could not take test scores and blah, 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 whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, just unforeseen circumstances and they just couldn't take them. Then the argument eventually was standardized test scores are more beneficial to wealthier families who can afford to pay for, one, private education, 2, tutors, et cetera, to boost their test scores. I mean, I think a great example is we at Maryville High School, we had a Kuntz cram course. Kuntz was, one of the professors there. And he had a ACT or SAT cram course. And I don't know. I remember I took it. I don't remember how much it cost. It must have been $2,000-$3,000, something like that.
No, it was affordable.
It was in the few hundreds of dollars, I believe.
Oh, really?
It wasn't nothing, but it was also not extravagant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was you could do it.
So call it 500
for
probably
for families that were struggling.
Under, but
you could do it once. Yeah.
But I'm also fairly certain that if you were a family that could not afford it, they were not going to turn you away, right? Because public school and
there was something.
Yeah, they worked it out somehow.
Yeah.
And, but to their point, going back to the very beginning of the podcast, my Dave Ramsey argument, if you were a family making $4,000 a month and you have to pick between buying your family $475 worth of groceries or sending your kid to this cram course, yes, everyone would love to say, I want to send my kid to this cram course so then they do better on the test, they get a better college education, and then, have a better life going forward. But for some people, it's literally not a choice that they have.
So I guess to maybe get back to the question that I had,
yes.
Was it was there 2 different pools where it was when Harvard was going through their academics admission process, how were they making a comparison between students who did not submit scores and students who did submit scores? Were there 2 different pools where they were okay, out of the ACT pool, we'll only accept, or regardless, we'll only accept 100 from either pool? So, and then if you put scores in, it could give you a better chance if you have higher scores versus being in the group probably with the majority of people and then just luck of the draw or whatever metric they were using.
So it's not as analytical as that, as quantitative as that, as 100 in this group, 100 in that group. But what they did was during COVID times, they no longer required scores, and to submit scores, you were opting in. It was optional, and you had to provide those scores. And to Jackson's point, I think there could be an argument made about if you're choosing to still submit your scores when they're not required, you probably had really great scores, meaning you're already a really good student. Predominantly,
Not only do you probably have good scores, but you're also doing additional work, and that says something about you as well.
Exactly. But I think they were judging the other students that did not submit scores based on, recommendation letters, resume, extracurriculars, GPA. Essays, right, high school transcript, that type of stuff. Now, I think what's interesting is, essays and recommendation letters are very subjective. People can say whatever they want about you, and also essays, like the person reading it, there's like a lot of subjectivity. The transcript part is the part that confuses me, because those are hard numbers. So if you see someone's high school transcript and you're like, oh, this is a 4.0 high school student, I think it's a fair assumption to make that person translates to a really good college student. So how they were making this distinction of almost one full GPA point between the people that submitted test scores and not, but presumably had the same transcript, I don't know. I don't know why that's true.
Well, I mean, all high schools are not created equal. So like a 4.0 at certain high schools is not equal to a 4.0 at other high schools, especially when you are talking about like private schools versus like public schools. Usually there is a difference there. Not to say there aren't good public schools, but I mean, I could see how that would break down. I'm surprised at the 0.86. I'm surprised it's basically a full letter grade. And
actually, this even says those who opted in had a median SAT score of 1420, compared to those who did not opt in had a median SAT score of 1160. It's like a pretty substantial drop off.
But are we not just saying that people that have higher test scores and go out of their way to do additional work get higher GPAs? Also, the problem here is that we're just judging people based off GPAs, which really shouldn't matter anyway.
No, completely agree. I think
neither one of these metrics really matter. But also it makes sense. They should be correlated. So
I completely agree. I think you're 100% right. I think the whole point is they tried to come up with a way to make college admissions at top universities more equitable for those that have not had the same opportunities. And I think while, yes, I agree that should still exist, this was clearly, getting rid of test scores was clearly not the avenue to do it.
Yeah.
So it's now we got to figure out how do we do it.
Test scores shouldn't really matter, but if you're trying to filter out people to optimize for the highest GPA at your school, then it's obviously probably going to be a pretty good metric to filter people out based on.
Completely agreed.
Go ahead. I was going to say one final comment on this if we're about to move on. I think I'd seen this a little while ago, and especially for the more academically elite institutions like the Harvards, or if you go to the West Coast with Stanford and Cal Berkeley, I've always thought with those, this isn't my idea, but I did see it and I liked it, was basically set a threshold, and then anybody who gets that, so let's say it's a 34 on the ACT or something very academically exclusive, just take a pool of people whoever submit that, who get that, take that pool, randomly select however many you want to admit. I think at that point, to try to count the straws and try to figure out one person being a little bit better because their essay was maybe a little bit better, or their recommendations come from people that's probably where you're showing bias. Where if everybody has very similar testing scores, very similar transcripts, that's probably where a little bit more of an economic bias can come into play.
I mean, it is interesting just in general, we are more and more just getting away from this idea of equity in higher education. I feel wasn't it last year that we got rid of affirmative action as well? That doesn't exist anymore. So that's another strike against equitable admissions.
Did that really happen?
Yeah.
I think there was a Supreme Court decision last year
that got rid of affirmative action. So, I'm glad that I'm not in college anymore, because clearly I was a diversity admission. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go back and get your PhD.
Yeah, not enough Indian students in colleges.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I got one more for you guys. You guys remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Boeing?
Oh yeah,
sure.
And you remember, I can't say the words exactly because last time YouTube got weird and shadow banned the video, but there was a Boeing whistleblower back in South Carolina who, I'm trying not to be rude here, but who pew-pewed himself. We understand? We understand what I'm saying?
Funny. Sorry.
He unalived himself.
Shadow ban.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I didn't say anything crazy last time.
No, unalived himself.
I'm sorry, it's just me.
With
me.
Yeah.
A weapon.
Right.
That shoots projectiles.
And we made the bold claim. You heard it here first that this was a bad actor by Boeing. That Boeing was somehow involved and they caused this happen. It was a hired hit, is what we said.
Did we say that?
I don't know if you can conclude that we all.
I do not want to be associated with that.
I'm saying it now.
I am not.
I'm saying it now.
Jerome, I think the word you're looking for is
Jerome.
That's the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
Hey, we are a collective here. We are a we. We are a we.
No. Not in this case.
Anyway, there has been another. There has been another hired hit by Boeing here. Another Boeing whistleblower has passed. This has happened very recently. And this person, his name's Joshua Dean. You can go look at the articles about him. But Joshua Dean somehow magically, mysteriously got a virus, got pneumonia. I think mRNA. No, that's a DNA sequence. MRSA, something like that. But very quickly, within the span of like 1-2 weeks, went from a super healthy individual to passed away. Now, I just want to ask, is this another hit because he was another Boeing whistleblower? All right.
Couldn't tell you.
You guys got to stop pleading the fifth on this one. No, but it's interesting. No, like the last person was in March. This is in April. Are we going to get another in May? Like,
it's interesting that we have a pattern.
Yes.
There is 2 Boeing whistleblowers in close proximity to when they have whistleblown have passed away by somewhat obscure circumstances.
Yes.
Do we know
completely.
how many total whistleblowers are there at Boeing?
We need to get some stats
I don't
on
know,
this.
but it's probably
I think that's the key metric that we need.
Jerome.
I'm sorry. I know I'm the receipts guy.
We need
today,
receipts on that because if it's 2 for 2, then it's very suspicious. If there's like 30 something whistleblowers at Boeing, then
that's still pretty high. 2 out of 30 getting knocked. That's crazy.
Yeah, allegedly knocked.
Well,
no proof being
we don't know.
We
don't know. I didn't realize that Boeing was part of the Italian mafia. I didn't realize, but they're out here putting out hits. Pew pew.
Well, they were West Coast.
Jerome is really going after people today.
Yeah,
listen. It's just
and
like
putting the whole podcast name on the line.
It's right, just like
you're throwing hands for
the
all of
Drake
us.
Kendrick Lamar beef. Boeing's got beef with their whistleblowers. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Should we pay some?
Maybe you should stop saying.
should we pay some bills here? We got not an official sponsor of this podcast, but an affiliate, And Collar. And Collar is an affordable men's clothing company where the products are sustainably made with the equivalent of 15 recycled plastic water bottles. Their shirts have 4-way stretch, are machine washable, liquid repellent, and wrinkle and stain resistant. You can go to andcollar.com right now and get 15% off using code Jerome in all caps. That's code Jerome for 15% off. Thanks, And Collar, for allowing us to make some commission here. That's it. Hopefully that helps us pay the bills and keep the lights on.
Yeah, I mean, shout out And Collar for allowing this opportunity. I have not worn the shirt yet. Jerome hasn't sent us our shirts.
Hey, listen, I can only do so much. And
Jerome looks good in them, at least. I'll say that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You gotta pass the rock like Caitlin Clark. You gotta give us the shirts.
We'll see. But no, the shirts legitimately are very nice. I like mine a lot. They've sent me another package that I gotta open and look at. But Maddox, what do you got?
I'll be quick because we've gone on for a while.
I apologize.
But Tesla, always got to talk about Tesla, right?
Always. They
tease their upcoming Uber self-driving ride-hailing app. So this is something that Elon Musk discussed when the cars first came out, and me as a young, naive, investment-minded person thought this was like the coolest opportunity ever, right? I was like trying to figure out how I could get my hands on a Tesla because I thought this was going to come out like soon, and this was when did the cars come out? 10 years ago at least?
Yeah.
So basically the idea is that since Teslas should in theory be full self-driving, if you own a Tesla, when you're not using it, there could be a app that connects you to a network where people can call your car your Tesla to come drive them somewhere. So you get to own your Tesla and drive it for your personal use, but then while you're not using it, you get to make money on the side. And this is like the perfect solution to vehicle ownership, where essentially you're just losing money no matter what because of depreciation and maintenance. So you have to have a car to exist in this society, but there's no, it's just always bleeding cash. So this is like a dream come true, right? So I don't know. They're teasing it. They're working on it now. I mean, in typical Elon Musk fashion, this has been talked about for many, many years and is very, very delayed.
10 year.
So
10-year tease.
What do you guys think? Is this actually ever going to come into existence, or is this just another pipe dream?
I think it will. I think it will eventually. It might be 20 years from now, but I think it will. Actually, I think realistically, I think we'll have it on the roads in the next 5, I would say. But my question is like car maintenance, right? If my car is at like, call it 100% utilization and it's constantly driving people around when I'm not using it, like I'm probably putting like hundreds of thousands of miles on it a year, right? You would think. So now
hundreds of thousands is a big number.
A lot more than you would.
Yeah.
Just a lot of your normal use.
So then I'm like, instead of being able to own a car, which a Tesla, like I would assume people only own for, call it like 7 years anyway. Am I now having to buy a brand new car every like 3?
Maybe, but it's positive cash flow because you're making money off people paying for it.
That's true. I'd like to see the economics on it.
Yeah. Also, like I'm like, if we can bring this into existence, like, do you even need to own a car? Like, why doesn't everyone cars could essentially just become like a train system? It's just
that's actually a good point. Actually, this is something I've thought about before. There's a lot of things that we as a society, or like individuals actually, or families, households own that could be sort of better utilized economically is if you share them. So like
socialized.
One of my coworkers is like, I want to start a business where in my neighborhood, I'm just gonna buy a lawnmower, and then we're gonna the neighborhood is gonna share the cost for it, and we're all gonna use it because you only need a lawnmower 2 hours out of a week. So it's like, why would every household in a neighborhood pay upwards to $1,000 for a lawnmower when you only use it a very minimal amount of time? Why not just save that money and collectively use it? This could be the same thing, like what Maddox is saying. It's like, why can't we have this sort of system instead of, everyone owning a car? Does everyone need to own a car, or can we reduce the amount of cars that are being owned?
I guess we kind of do have it, right? They're called buses. People just don't use them.
That's what I was gonna get into. Is it's funny. Not that we can really do anything about it because it's a whole nother bag about political or the political. How do you get funding for it? Yada,
yeah.
But it's amazing how far American people will go to just not use public transit.
That's my thing. Is this different because it is private?
Yes,
and people just don't like interacting with other people.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, that dynamic definitely exists in the U.S. and it's a problem because public transportation in other countries is very, very easy to use and very comfortable and very clean and not. It's like the norm. It's not looked down upon.
Right.
So it's that's definitely a U.S. problem. But public transportation has its limitations. This would be you can go right up to your house. You can go right up to your
fair.
There is. Especially in the U.S., where the infrastructure is built around cars, like this would definitely have a benefit in my view. But at the same time, we should just get, we could have it where you just ride, hail your ride to the train station, and then you're just taking the train to the next, and that's probably more efficient than everyone taking an individual thing to their individual place. But
right.
Do we? I want to know what with this. I will believe this system can exist nationwide if it can exist in Philadelphia for 1 week. if this program can exist in the city of Philadelphia for 1 week, I will believe it's possible to be rolled out in like nationwide. Because there was that robot that went all around like Europe, and then it got to Philly and just got like trashed within like 24 hours. Yeah. So I could see Philadelphians respect. I say this with all due respect, just absolutely abusing this system. So give it a week in Philly, and I'm sold.
Do we think it's going to be cheaper than things like Uber and Lyft for the rider?
It should be in theory, because there's not a driver. I mean, the real problem here, though, is that like full self-driving is still not fully like.
Yeah, true.
It's like pretty impressively good, I would say, but it's like I don't think it's being used in its absolute form, where people are just going from point A to point B and just not driving at all. I think you could theoretically do it, but I don't think it's like all the way there yet.
Right.
Yeah. Going back to Tesla, and we were talking about this earlier, is like how long until this goes to market? If it's 5 years, then okay, yeah, I could see Tesla having a big leg up on the competition, being the ones to get in. But if we're like 20 years out, who's to say Tesla's the first company to pull this off?
Great point.
Yeah,
could be other
companies. There's a bunch that are working on this stuff right now, especially in China.
Also, quite frankly, with the Cybertruck disaster, I don't really know if I want to get into a unpiloted Tesla and just have it drive me places right now.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah.
because people are going to be like, oh, but that the autopilot's not ready yet. Well, the argument here is that they exist. Driverless taxis already exist. Albeit they might be in like certain cities, like international, where they have specifically those city roads mapped and it's not based off vision, but they do exist.
I feel like they're just in beta,
Yes. But my point being, there are driverless taxis that exist that you would get in today and just be like, let me take me wherever I need to go.
I mean,
but
cautiously. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to Max's point, I would be more willing to get into a driverless car if I knew it was like a predetermined route. if I knew like it picks you up at these, like almost like a UPS like drop off store.
Right.
Like you can be picked up at these particular locations, and you can either go to like the airport, the train station, one of the big like sporting venues. I would be okay with that. And then there's like designated drop off areas where it knows its loop. It's been properly sized or spec'd out, where it'll have up-to-date information. If like a bridge goes out or something dramatic like that, it can be able to react to it in live time,
Yeah. But Jerry, the thing you're describing, that sounds like another form of transportation that's pretty common. Like
a metro.
Yeah, like a metro or a bus. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, team metro, team bus. But if we're gonna play this idea out, that's where I would use it.
Well, good thoughts. Moving on to Mark Zuckerberg at Facebook. He decided that it was a good idea on the last earnings call for the company to entirely focus on all the ways that the company is bleeding cash currently.
That is the dumbest thing I've heard.
The stock dropped 19%.
Oh my God.
Losing
duh.
$200 billion in value. And, like, obviously markets are very, very complicated and multifactorial, and this, might not have been the only thing, but just an interesting thing. Like, what? Probably not like the best approach.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like CEOs are constantly getting on earning calls and absolutely just like making things up to make them sound good.
The opposite of this.
Yeah.
Which, props to the transparency, Honestly,
sure.
Kind of respect it a little bit.
But do the markets? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
And
I mean, if I'm an investor in Facebook and I hear that, I'm thinking like, oh, it sounds like there's no way that this company has nothing as far as like how they're going to earn more revenue. And they're like sort of in emergency mode.
Well, I'll say this. I think this is probably the stance he was taking, and I think he's made it pretty transparent. They've invested a lot upfront into, long-term technologies like AI, metaverse, these types of things that, are very futuristic. And while they probably are just bleeding money right now, they're they believe that Meta is going to be like the pioneer of this type of technology. So, and I think he's like very much embraced that, and that's probably where he's coming from. But that's fine if that's the strategy, but that's what you're going to do to your stock in the short term,
Do we know Mark Zuckerberg's Facebook short position? I would love to know. I would love to know what that was.
Interesting thought. Short your own company and then trash it on the earnings call.
I mean, isn't that just literally illegal?
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
If it's not, it should be.
Yeah. Well, one last thing that I got to say about Mark Zuckerberg. Did you guys see that AI photo of him with the beard where he looked like Jack Harlow? Because he was looking good.
Yeah.
I saw the photo.
For once, he did not look like a robot, and he didn't look like a baby face. He looked good, man. Mark,
he's never looked like a robot. He's looked like a lizard who put human skin over top of it. Yeah.
Well, Mark, you should really grow out that beard if you can.
We are really making enemies on this podcast today. I don't think we've said a nice thing about any person other than the Dollar General.
I talked
store.
great things about Dollar General, and you guys had to shut me down. I guess this is just going to be a negative mindset podcast.
I just said that Zuck had a great beard. I just said he's good looking.
Zuck.
That's true.
You said AI Zuck had a great beard. That would be like if I said, dude, AI you beautiful. It'd be like, whoa, AI me? What about me?
Hey, I'm just saying, AI me was beautiful. I got some pics of AI me.
I know what you're talking about.
That's all I had on Zuck.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to crypto. The Department of Justice has posited that the CEO of Binance should spend 3 years in jail for money laundering charges.
Catch me up on the Binance story. So FTX happened, and then the CEO of Binance got arrested for money laundering, right? But this was also recently.
Yeah, this has been more recently than the FTX stuff. He pled guilty though.
Oh, so that means he's going to jail for 3 years.
It was pretty well. He pled guilty to the money laundering accusations. Got it. I don't know if they've given him his sentence yet. But Binance had to pay $4.3 billion in penalties.
Dang.
The sentence. Oh, I guess the sentencing happened on April 30th, but I don't know what the outcome was.
But 4.3 billion, so about 20 times the amount that the WNBA makes. Damn.
The revenue,
right?
Oh, it looks like he only got 4 months.
Man, this always happens to rich people, bro.
Wow.
4 months on a plea deal.
Wow.
This always happens to rich people.
So that's kind of my thought. Like your money laundering this is a company with billions and billions of dollars. I mean, I was going to ask if 3 years seemed like a lot, but what do we think about 4 months?
No, 4 is not enough, man. How many people lost their lives over this?
I don't think anyone lost their lives.
Sorry.
Livelihood.
Yes, figuratively, lost their life savings.
I'm talking about billion here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the same. I don't know if that's necessarily the same thing. I don't think Binance did anything with customer funds. I think there was.
Oh, this was just him.
So what do you mean by money laundering? Just he was stealing money from the company?
I guess so. Yeah, I think that's probably what money laundering is referring to in this context. I mean, I was thinking.
Okay.
I guess I was kind of thinking maybe like avoiding taxes or that type of thing, but I guess that's tax evasion. So, I guess just siphoning money from the company. But yeah, I mean, that to me, that's a very different thing than like you can take money from the company, but maintain your integrity to customer funds.
Yeah. We gotta be missing something here though, because it'd be crazy if someone could steal money from a company and then the company has to pay $4.3 billion. You know, we gotta be missing something.
That's actually pretty interesting.
But I mean, I don't know. 4 months not enough.
On the next episode.
Yeah, 4 months not enough. That's what I gotta say.
Yeah.
All right, last for me, Oracle, big tech company, was planning on moving its headquarters to Austin, but in a surprise change of events, it chose Nashville in hopes to offer its employees a better lifestyle. What do we think about that? Big companies coming to Tennessee for better lifestyle.
What's wrong with Austin?
Better lifestyle? How? I feel like Austin and Nashville are very similar cities. Like no state income tax.
A little bit more.
I don't know. Austin's probably larger, like population wise.
Yes.
Nashville's creeping up on like 750K, but it hasn't broken a million yet. Yeah. But lifestyle, I don't get it. What, more people that work at Oracle like country music? Watch out for Morgan Wallen. He might throw your server off a roof of a bar.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
it's true.
I mean, definitely in the real estate industry, there's a lot of people coming. You know, we're not in Nashville, we're in East Tennessee, but a lot of people coming here and like because they perceive Tennessee as being a better place for them to live their life relative to wherever they're coming from. So
I would say Nashville definitely cheaper than Austin. I think that's an easy. I am without ever looking at the metrics. I would say Nashville probably very, very cheap in comparison to Austin. With just, I mean, I've seen the Austin like housing prices are just insane.
I have another question. Do we think that Oracle moving and presumably hosting their servers in Nashville, do we think that changes the Senate's opinion on TikTok, who currently host all their data in Texas on Oracle servers? Yes?
Maybe.
Anyway.
Does Oracle moving their servers to Nashville, like if there was allegedly something illegal on like Oracle servers and they move it to Nashville, isn't that like an interstate like violation? Like, doesn't that become like a federal crime?
Sure.
Because it's like moved across states.
Is it on the server owner?
I don't really know.
But like they have to transfer the information from like the Texas servers to like Tennessee. It's got to cross state borders.
How do they move the servers? Won't all the data get deleted when they unplug it?
Put the servers on the truck, drive it to Nashville.
They just sent it from one server to another.
They got to figure out how to keep it plugged in the entire drive.
You got
really long.
Did you want
you can use the wind from the drive to keep the servers.
Oh yeah, wind power.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, this one derailed really.
I'm just saying.
All right, that's all I got for this week.
Well, okay, then that moves us into our favorite segment of the week and your favorite segment of the week, the Reddit Roundup, where we find the wackiest, crazy, funniest stories on the internet and just have some fun with it. I've got a really quick fun one because this has been the episode of callbacks. Did you know, this is not the fun part, but you got to have the bad before you get to the fun. 43% of small businesses in the month of April were unable to pay their full rent payment, which is really sad on their own. I saw this on Twitter, but had a hilarious comment underneath where this user said, "It's because Dave Ramsey said they aren't living below their means."
Nice.
Which is so funny. Is that true, Dave Ramsey? Let us know.
Yeah.
I've got another one for you guys. A little game that I want to play with you guys. So let's pretend for a second that there's a zombie apocalypse, right? And you guys are grouping together as a group of three. I need you guys to, discuss, argue with each other, and tell me what you're going to do. I'm giving you $15. You got $15, and you're going to tell me.
Wait, we only have $15?
$15
to survive the zombie apocalypse?
Correct. You have $15, which honestly sounds pretty accurate. You're going to get to buy from me a person. That sounds horrible. Rewind
Whoa.
it. Bring it back. Bring it back. You're gonna get to buy a partner to add to your team, a weapon, a defense weapon, not a weapon, like a defense item, and a base
Shield.
Well, maybe potentially, and a base location. Okay, each category is gonna have 5 things, starting from $5 to $1. But there's 4 categories. Each one has 5, and you only have $15. Okay.
Okay, so we have to. You tell me I have to remember 20 things
Yeah, I know,
right now.
I'm about
No,
to-
we're gonna do one category at a time.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
do one category
Okay.
at a time.
Whoa,
Okay?
whoa. Yeah, how are we gonna know how to allocate to?
Exactly.
Is that part
You
of the
don't.
game?
Yes, you
No,
don't know.
no. Like, what if we're like, oh, it has to be a 5 on the location, and then we get to the next one, and it's like, oh, well, we definitely need 5 for
Exactly.
the weapon.
That's the point.
Exactly.
I think.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So we're gonna start with the person first. Okay.
The partner.
For your partner, who you want to join to your team. For $5, you can have Joe Rogan. For 4, Jackie Chan. For 3, Ryan Reynolds. 2, Albert Einstein. Or 1, a random mailman. What are we doing?
Okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
like
definitely,
Jackie Chan.
I don't want Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Jackie Chan's
Joe
cool.
Rogan, I feel like.
$4?
Yeah, but he's pretty fit.
Okay, a lot of these guys are
and
kind of old.
I would go with Ryan Reynolds just because middle of the pack. We don't know what we're gonna be up against with the next 3 categories.
Okay, but not
and
Deadpool Ryan Reynolds, just Ryan Reynolds, the actor.
No, but like, let's be honest. Like, nobody's helping us here. Like, there's no individual
Okay,
that
if
we
no
can
one's
get
helping
here that's
us-
gonna help us.
I think we should just go mailman.
I
See, I want.
agree. Also,
You don't think
does
Einstein's
Ryan
gonna
Get
help?
some comedy.
does Ryan Reynolds come with the Mint Mobile network?
Oh,
Ooh.
that's a great
Do we
question.
get access?
That is
I'm gonna say, for the sake of argument, no.
Okay.
damn.
I
Wait,
think
who
we
was
just
two?
need a body, honestly.
Who
2
was
is
2?
Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Wait, $2?
Albert
$2.
Einstein.
Was Albert Einstein?
Yeah, no.
Wait,
Terrible.
Albert Einstein in 1934 or Albert Einstein in 2024?
No,
So just
Albert
a
Einstein in his
skeleton?
prime. In his prime.
In his prime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. In his prime.
let's
I
say-
think
let's
I
say
think
all
we
these
just
people
need,
in their
honestly,
prime.
we just need a body.
I think
I
mailman.
don't think
Yeah,
these
mailman.
people.
Mailman.
Yeah.
Mailmen,
I'm gonna go with mailman.
they have experience fending off dogs.
True.
That's a good point.
And they've got a good understanding of like the distributed network of where to get to places.
Wow.
Good knowledge of local
Okay.
You
terrain.
know the roads. Mailman.
Okay.
Mailman.
All right, we're at $14.
Okay. To make things a little more interesting, because you could now basically just buy everything. I'm gonna make things a little more expensive. Weapons. For $6, you can have a lightsaber. Okay.
Lightsaber.
For
Lightsaber.
Fi-
You don't have to keep talking. Lightsaber.
you're not gonna
I
get
want
No,
the
you have to
lightsaber.
keep talking.
No.
What the fuck are
Keep
you
going.
talking about? I want the lightsaber.
For $5, a machete. For $4, a spiked bat. For $3, a crowbar. And for $2, a sharp pencil.
Lightsaber. Wait, hold on. So one clarifying question.
Uh-huh.
Like, does the lightsaber like feel heavy in my hand? Like, is it heavy, or is it literally just a handle and light
It's a
that
light
can cut through anything?
Yeah, what
Saber.
are we talking
It's
about?
not
I thought
heavy,
you had
heavy
it's
saber.
light.
Okay, then easy lightsaber, 100%. A
Yeah.
machete is gonna make your arm feel heavy.
I think there's like get the most range, lightsaber. Get the most sort of durability, lightsaber.
Lightsaber.
I'm confused. Range lightsaber? Where's that
Kill
coming
power.
from?
Whoa,
You
they
can
were all
throw it
melee
and
weapons.
and use the force.
Yeah,
A
lightsabers
machete.
were all melee.
You didn't get. I was waiting for the range
But-
weapon, and you only gave us melee weapons.
I see. Okay, fair,
Oh.
fair.
Yeah. Machetes are
Lightsaber.
short. Bats are short. Crowbars are short. So I think it's easy.
So you guys are going with lightsaber?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're
All
at
right, that was-
$8.
$6. So you have that's correct. You have $8
Yeah.
left. Defense item. For $5, you can have an Iron Man suit. Okay. For $4,
Wait, one?
yeah, one amongst the three of
The
you.
We'll
three
get to
of
the
us.
mailman.
Correct.
This mailman is going to be rocking an Iron Man suit and a lightsaber.
And a lightsaber.
With the lightsaber.
Okay, Iron Man suit. For $4, a shield from a knight. For $3, a bulletproof vest. I'll give you 3 of those. For $2, catcher's gear. I'll give you 3 of those. Or 1, a wool sweater. You can have 3 of those too.
Can I ask a question before we make an answer here?
Go ahead.
Can we lock in the defense base price range?
Yeah. It'll be, let's say defense, since I read them off, we'll do 5 to 1, and base location we'll say, how much do you have left? You have $8?
Yeah.
6-2 for the defense, or for the base. For the base,
I was gonna go with the bulletproof vests.
you'd be
But
rocking it out,
I
looking
think-
like 50 Cent in these streets. Okay,
I mean, you could die in so many like worse ways.
that's
than
true. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, do zombies
But
have bullets to shoot at you?
No, just kind of
Oh.
like,
No, that's a good point.
yeah,
What
I
was
mean,
2?
The $2 is catcher's
catcher's
gear.
gear.
Just an ineffective bulletproof.
I mean, the Iron Man suit is way better than all the other ones, but like, that's
Yeah, I
that's
just feel like
I
we're
think
getting
the
into a
base-
trick.
7.5% of our funds.
I feel like we're about to get into a
Yeah.
trick on this last one somehow. I don't know why.
I think we need all the
Um,
money for the base. I think the base is going to be like underground bunker with like full supplies for 30 years each person
Whoa.
or something like that.
I'm okay with taking catcher's gear.
Yeah,
It provides
same.
sort of artificial or sort of surface level protection of your skin.
Do we get like full catcher's gear, like with the
Yeah.
like the knee pads and everything?
Yes, full with the face
hell
mask
yeah.
and everything.
All right,
Oh,
let's do it. Mailman,
yeah. Zombies,
a mailman, umpire, Sith Lord.
Yes.
Okay,
Steve
so that's $2. You have 6 left, so you could buy whatever you want. But I'll give you the base locations anyway. For $2, you can be at the beach. For $3, you get a regular standard, bog standard house. $4, underground bunker, like Jared said, with supplies. $5, a prison. If you are into Alcatraz or something. And for $6, you can get yourself a castle with full defenses and a moat.
6
A moat.
castle.
That
Wait,
changes everything.
Does the hold on? Which of these has full supplies? Just the underground bunker?
Well, the bunker has food. None of the rest of them have food. You'll have to scavenge for your own food. How about that?
I think
Does it matter? You have
But
$6.
how am
You
I
can buy
get-
whatever you want.
How am I gonna feed my gators in my
Well,
moat?
here's the thing about the underground bunker. We're going to be dealing with vitamin D deficiency. That's not good in a zombie apocalypse.
Ooh,
That's true. That's a very good point.
interesting.
I mean, we have to go with the castle.
Yeah,
right?
you
I mean,
have
there's-
to. All right, so you guys got a random mailman,
I don't know. I think the
lightsaber.
supplies is like how long is this?
It's
How-
valuable. It's valuable.
And
That's for our lives.
and what resources are around this castle? Do we have like
Yeah.
like
Is
a,
it like in
a
Germany?
forest full of little creatures? Do we have farmland? Like
Hey, base layout, base location, very important as we've learned in Pal Worlds.
yes, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
True.
Yeah.
Is there little pals running
Can
around?
we?
Right?
Do we
can
have
we
pal balls? Can we
choose-
make pal balls?
Can you catch
Pal,
the
pal
zombies?
spheres.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
it
so we're
doesn't
done.
matter. You guys can buy whatever you want.
It does.
I was
I
saying.
feel like this does. I feel like we didn't agree on
What's the decision
Yeah,
here?
no, I mean, I see your argument for the underground bunker, and honestly, like,
Okay.
I'm down for the underground bunker. It's pretty impenetrable
Can
too.
we choose like where the castle is in the world?
Sure.
Okay, then I
Yeah,
think it's
okay.
the castle because we could
Well,
just put
also,
the castle in like
with
a
our-
forest in Germany.
with our surplus of $2 from buying the bunker. We could buy vitamin D
Food.
supplements.
Ah,
you can buy cleaning supplies from Dollar General.
Oh, true. Nice callback. Nice callback. All right. So you guys got the mailman, the lightsaber, catcher's gear, and bunker.
No,
Is what
we're
we're
going.
locking
If
in?
we can pick the location,
No,
we're picking
castle.
castle. I think, right?
Castle.
All right. All right. Well, congratulations. You guys have hopefully survived the zombie apocalypse with your mailman.
We have.
Am I a mailman or am I just dead? All right. Sounds like you
You
guys
can be
don't want me on
whatever
your
you
team.
wanna be.
That's fine.
You didn't.
Moving on. Reddit roundup. I got one more for you guys.
Okay.
Have you heard that in New York City there are college students that are making well, okay, let me tell you what they're doing first. They are buying and selling restaurant reservations. Predominantly, restaurants that are hard to get into. They'll reserve a bunch with different credit cards, names, whatever. And then they will sell them on a secondary market with some reservations going for upwards of $800. Not any food yet, just the reservation. Okay. I want you to guess how much this college student is making per year.
200K.
20 grand.
I'll go
Damn,
cool
that is a
100K.
lot of money. Jared, any guesses?
I said 20k.
Well, Jared, is a little, you're all a little off. I will give it to Maddox and Jackson. It is more than Caitlin Clark's base salary as a WNBA player, $80,000 a year.
Wow.
Which
That's
is
crazy.
insane. This is a great idea. Like, I'm honestly kicking myself that I hadn't thought of this.
That's almost enough to be able to pay for a mortgage.
I didn't know there was a marketplace for reservations. I also didn't know that there was really a marketplace for tickets. Like you can. Did you guys know this? You can resell tickets.
What do you mean?
Yes.
Oh,
like
that's a huge.
Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could buy them as an individual though, and then resell them
on those websites.
Yeah.
That's kind of a big societal problem, actually.
Yeah. Well,
like scalpers.
So yeah,
bots.
Callback though. Yeah. My brother, who covers Iowa closely, as soon as it was known what team that Caitlin was going to go to, he bought tickets for that team. Jared, what's the team? Indiana or something?
The Indiana Fever.
Yeah. He bought season tickets for that team and has like resold them at like a 5x profit.
Yo, that's so smart.
Yeah.
Dang. I wish I'd thought of that. Okay, we know for next year now.
Well, I was thinking about this. Like, this sounds like something that you can only do for so long.
Yeah.
Until like restaurants. I don't know. This just sounds like something where like I'm surprised the fact that it doesn't exist everywhere, where restaurants would like either say put your name on a wait list or pay $20 to have like a guaranteed reservation.
Yeah.
This sounds like something where it's a market that will like get out of control.
I think it's already being or starting to become regulated, and they're trying to get rid of it because it's just very unfair. You know, it's how like I'm sure it is for the more luxury restaurants and like Michelin star and that type of stuff. But yeah, if you're already paying $1,000 to get at a Michelin star restaurant, like I shouldn't be paying an extra $1,000 just to get the reservation. Also, like, why would the restaurant not just get that money? You know.
But
well, that's what I was gonna.
If there's a market for it and people are willing to pay for it, if the demand is
and the restaurant's not capitalizing on it.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because the money always talks. And I think the restaurants are going to look at this and go, oh, that's a great idea.
Exactly.
Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not letting you do this. I'm going to start doing this.
Yeah. And now restaurants are charging for the reservation. Yeah.
And I think that's where I think it's going to bubble. And then I think it's going to come back. Like the fact that this doesn't exist everywhere, because there's been restaurants forever. So the fact that this doesn't exist, I think somebody has found like a temporary moment where they can take advantage of this, and it's a great idea until the restaurants are like, I'm not going to let this guy take the money that could be going directly into my pocket for this. Then people are going to get pissed off at the restaurants, and they're going to stop going to the restaurant, or it's going to devalue the restaurant, and the restaurant is going to be like, oh yeah, we're not doing this anymore, and we're just going to get back.
But bubbles never work like that, though. Bubbles will like bubble to a level, and then they don't ever level set back to zero. They level set to like 25%. You know what I mean? So now our restaurant
more than that.
It'll get put into your tip or something. So it's like, I don't know.
And I don't want things going in my tip. I'm just saying.
Well, then is it such a great idea then?
No, like
it's a great idea. It's just we didn't think of it.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's why I'm mad. You're completely right. Yeah. I'm just mad that I didn't think of this.
But I don't want to be paying money for reservations. But what am I going to do about that?
100%.
What about like a deposit?
No.
Restaurants do that. If you book on Open Table,
the deposit, it could go toward your check, or if you back out, you lose it.
Exactly.
I'd be okay with that.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah.
A lot of fancy restaurants already do that on like Open Table and stuff. You have to put down like $25 a head or something, and if you don't show up, you lose it.
No, I'm cool with that.
And I agree. I'm cool with that. And honestly, maybe more restaurants should do this, because then it would disincentivize scalpers like this.
It would also disincentivize people that aren't serious about
who are just putting their name down and then get blackout at 4:00 and don't go to the dinner and take it away from somebody else.
Exactly. I think we're on the same page here. Well, should we wrap this episode up?
It's a good one.
Thank you guys for watching episode 5. As always, if you want to interact with us, the professors, and talk about all the current events live and as they're happening, make sure to join the classroom in our Discord in the link below. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel to watch the video version, and make sure you're subscribed to all socials at 9 Degrees Pod. Thank you guys for watching the episode. Class is now dismissed.